saying stuff like that. I find it funny.
All right, I'm actually recorded now.
Oh,
all right,
crap.
so here we go. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Seriously Amazing. Tonight, we are going to be discussing WandaVision finale as well as the series as a whole. We want to start off with an open discussion. Then we're going to move into some deep diving into the storytelling as a whole, character arcs, and we're just going to be dissecting this thing and discussing it in detail. So before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so that you do not miss a beat. And let us know your thoughts down in the comments. So with that being said, let's hop right into this discussion. All right. So I see Cody over there. Like, we got edit on this out. It's like, no. But anyway, so guys, let's talk some WandaVision finale. Okay, so there was, I don't want to say there was a lot that was happening, but it felt like a lot was being squeezed into this episode. I mean, honestly, it was like, why are we trying to cram what could have easily been a good 2 or 3 episodes into one episode? Because I felt like so much was left out of this episode that it almost left you thinking, okay, like, did they forget all of the plot threads that they set up? Did they forget all of the stuff that we were expecting, that they were building up to? And so that's how I felt about it. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but it felt a little overpacked and underwhelming.
Oh my God.
I know you got something on that toast. Come on now.
Well, thinking about it, it did feel a little bit rushed, like a lot of different things. Like the whole Vision v Vision thing, I think that was probably my favorite out of the episode, like that encounter, because one thing you'd never actually see most of the time, like if one guy's coming to fight, like Batman versus Superman, for example, instead of being able to talk about it, it's just, I'm going to punch you in the face, slam you through a wall. They were actually able to like talk to each other and come to a understanding rather than like, let's say the Vision's like, oh, you're misunderstanding, and White Vision's like, liar, and then proceeds to just slam him through another wall. I thought that was kind of cool. But it did seem a little, the pacing wasn't the greatest. Like, you could tell that those episodes, as the series progressed, it didn't get paced as they would like. Like the first episode, it was really, really slow. First couple episodes are really, really slow. And as it progressed, the pacing just got faster and faster and faster and faster. And me personally, I there was things I liked and I didn't like in this episode.
Oh, definitely.
Well, you know, I don't like to look around for things. I was looking at you know how you click the Google and articles pop up. Well, they were saying that they did cram 2 episodes basically into one for the last one, and due to filming redos for COVID and stuff like that. So, and I don't know if that was just like to mitigate the damage or something, but they said it was kind of packed into one. But honestly, me personally, I wasn't too bothered by it. But you know, I'm a different animal when it comes to watching TV, as Toast will tell. as Toast will tell.
I mean, I get it, but it was like, okay, so like what you were saying about Vision, Jam, I totally agree. I think that Vision was probably the most consistent and well concluded character in this story, you know, because like definitely we're going to talk about Wanda, because I think that her character is broke right now, like just in so many ways she's broke. But Vision as a character, I think that went well. I'm not sure if they should have brought him back the way they did, but at the same time his character was at least consistent, and it seemed like they followed through from the beginning of who he was in this series, and they concluded it well, even though it's kind of weird how White Vision just like, all right, peace, y'all. You know, like
yeah, I don't know why. Like when I first saw it, because I watched the episode twice, I watched it by myself and then I watched it with my dad. At first, like it was so jarring to me that I was like, wait, is White Vision now pretending to be the family man? Like, what happened to the other Vision? Where'd he go? I didn't even notice that this dude zoomed out of there at first. I didn't see it. I was like, wait, what? What happened to the other Vision's copy? Where'd he go? So it was a little jarring.
Yeah, it was a little random, you know. Like, yeah, I'm a totally new person, but sorry, I can't stay around, y'all. This episode's too jam-packed already.
Right. He's like, all right, I said I'm Vision, bye.
Not enough screen time left, y'all. Yo, but
I guess we'll get there, right? I guess we'll get there to that, because I do have a problem with. But I don't think Amber heard your initial question, Justin.
Okay, well, we were just discussing what you thought of the episode as a whole before we dive deep, because I was saying I felt like it was too jam-packed, like it was overstuffed and underwhelming.
Right. Well, I'm sorry for being late, and thanks for repeating the question. I thought it was great. It was definitely, you know, probably by like a quarter of the way through, just how fast the pace was going, and you could tell that they were going to put a lot into it. And I think, you know, for having put so much into it, they were able to execute it pretty well. You know, there were, I guess we'll get into the details of like, there are some things, you know, we've been talking about Mephisto, like the whole season, you know, things that they didn't end up kind of manifesting in at least that series, which is kind of, I won't say disappointing, but it's sort of like they could have done that, you know, if they were capable of jam packing in the first place. So, you know, I think it just kind of shows what their priorities are, I guess, with each step. And we're just at the beginning, and I just feel like they don't really want to really go there with anything yet.
Okay. All right, so I guess I'm just the all boy. I thought he had way too much going on. But were you about to say something, Cody?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just felt like this had way too much going on. So I mean, so let's just discuss this episode, because we had, okay, so for me, I think that the Wanda versus Agatha fight scenes, I mean, you can only do so much when you got two witches or whatever, right? You only can get like a couple power shoot. So I didn't have any problem with that. But it was like, if that's all it's going to be, we really don't need to show as much as we did. But anyway, okay, so you know, it was just like, why are we dragging this out? It was like you're dragging out the wrong things, and then you're rushing through the more important things, which is how I felt like you're spending most of your time, which is limited, on the wrong things. Definitely. But anyway, so you had Wanda fighting Agatha. Oh snap, Amber, she that duck. So no, but you had you had
like what you were saying, Justin.
Yo, so I mean, you had this fight between Agatha and Wanda, then you had the fight between Vision and Vision, then eventually you had the fight between Billy and Tommy and Monica versus the Sword People.
Man, you know, have a problem with that.
You know, and you just had all of this stuff going on. But I mean, I loved how they tied in a few episodes. I mean, eventually we'll get there, but like how, you know, Wanda does the thing with the runes. I love that. I loved how that was tied in. I think that was pretty, you know, it was a good payoff moment. But I really think that this episode was, I just think if this is really Wanda's show, I personally think Wanda was probably the weakest developed character in this series. Was centered around her. And I think that that's a problem, because you had somebody who was trying to avoid their grief, who was trying to avoid their problems. But this episode, it's like the way this episode went, it was like, okay, well, none of that really matters in the end. You know, it was kind of like they pulled a Rise of Skywalker. You know, nobody's ever really gone. You know, Vision's dead, but not really. Billy and Tommy are gone, but are they really gone? You know, like
stop, yo.
You know, like what are the costs? And for me, it was like, okay, you got all of these sacrifices, but what is the real cost? Like, what is the really cost? What is the real cost of the state? And then on the top of that, like you have Wanda. You know, you had this really dramatic scene at the end where she's like letting go of her dream, you're letting go of the kids, and letting go of Vision. But then it's like, okay, but you're not really letting them go because now you're going to go learn dark magic, and your goal really is just to find a way to bring them all back. That's what it seems like it was alluding to. So for me, I'm like, well, did she really learn? Because here's what's crazy. I actually did cry during this watching this episode, but it wasn't at the end. It wasn't at the end where like the kids and Vision would disappear. It was when she was in the middle of the street and the kids come running up. And they're like, help me. Like, I actually did a reaction video. I tried to post it, but it got copyright strike. But we're not going to talk about that. Because I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I put so much time into that video. But they were like, help us. And then Vision is like, help. You know, they're like, and I'm like, yo, come on, this is crazy. You can't make her choose right now, yo. I got so emotional.
I wasn't crying, but I was hurt, bro. I'm like, no.
I was hurt. Yeah, I was like, yo, this not fair. I had to pause the video. I was like, yo, this not right, yo. No, yo, can't do this to her. Yeah, but like, afterwards, it was messed up, yo. It was so emotional. But anyway, I just felt like they pulled so much out for Wanda, and then it's just like, oh, well, she's not really letting go in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, but just because she's trying to practice something in order to find a way to do something doesn't necessarily mean she didn't let go, because she doesn't know what her results are going to be. You know, she's going into a new field of study or if you will, you know what I mean? So she doesn't necessarily know, trying to hold in a sneeze. She doesn't necessarily know that what she's about to do is going to produce the fruits that she desires, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, you know, that's being pretty fair to her, I guess. She's definitely on a new journey. She started like a new phase in her life. But it just didn't feel like closure. I think she definitely like let go of the illusion and that it wasn't doing anything for her and hurting a lot of people. But to like, you know, I mean, to practice dark magic, like, oh man, but she was already doing that before. And so this is the whole thing about like who she is. And, you know, I think she'll find a way to kind of bring them back like in like actual reality and not just in an illusion. But I think the dark magic thing, I don't like it, but that's who she is.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk more about the episode. So I guess what were y'all favorite and least favorite moments of this episode?
Well, me personally, my favorite moment is when I like the whole the street showdown. You know, she sees White Vision show up, and she's like, Vision, and he just comes up and starts crushing her skull, and she don't know how to process it. And then I'm like, yo, what's happening here? Then my man Vision come out of the sky and just drag his face across the ground for about a block. I'm like, all right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. But then he turned into classic Vision, the Vision that had no hands, and started to get slapped around a little bit. But that's Vision. So, and I like Vision now. So it's all right. You know, stop hitting Vision. But that was like really my favorite part is the whole street, the whole action sequence, because they really didn't have a large action sequence in this show yet, and so you know I like the action.
Yeah.
Other than the moment in the street where the kids are reaching out to her and Vision's reaching out to her for help because they're crumbling away. The other part that was really touching was when they were standing there. Vision and Wanda were standing there and the wall was coming down and they were spending those last moments together. I'm like, man, that's kind of rough, you know. But yeah. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those parts the most.
Yeah. The fight scene was because that had me tripping because when she turns around and she sees the White Vision, I'm like, Wanda,
Come on.
Girl, you know your man not white. Like, you need to wake up. I know y'all keep falling for these white dudes, but this is not the one.
Oh, crap.
You better wake up, Wanda. You better wake up. Yeah, I'm like, yo, what is she doing? But yeah, the fights, the fight scenes were pretty decent. They were pretty good. I can't lie. They were pretty cool. I wish we would have saw probably a little bit more maybe from Billy and Tommy, but the Vision on Vision, the fight scenes were pretty good overall, I think. Yeah, for what they were.
I wanted Wanda as they were throwing. She was throwing magic, and she can it looked like she could clearly see that Agatha was draining her of her vitality. I'm just like, Wanda, fly over there and give us some of those hands. What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're waiting for magic. Just give me all you got. Just go give me your hands. Like, but she was planning all of that. So okay.
Yeah. I really liked that scene. I liked how long the showdown was just between Agnes and Wanda. It felt like kind of drawn out. There were like, certain points where it was like, oh, is she really, like what you thought she was gonna do kept changing while they were battling, as she continues to manipulate her and tries to draw more and more out of her, and she starts to catch on. And then after she catches on and then encouraged, she's just like, you know what, like, and just starts throwing at her. At a point, I'm like, okay, so and we start to watch her crumble away. I'm like, okay, Wanda, so are we gonna say goodbye? Like, what's happening? And then that's why I felt like it was really satisfying when she did the whole rune thing all along. And they even showed, how disturbed and annoyed that Agatha was with herself for giving her that, that lesson. Cause like, Wanda's not slow. But for me, my favorite part was Vision and Vision, because as soon as Vision was like, to White Vision, when he was like, why are you doing this? I was like, oh gosh. And the fact that they were in a library, I was like, uh-oh. And then it immediately turned like really philosophical. And it was just like Vision out visioning Vision. And I thought it was hilarious. And good for the adults, if they find that kind of stuff funny. I can't really remember the detail of whatever. I think it was like art and technology. It was like, is this preserved giant ship, is it still a ship as it continues to be changed pieces when they decay? And I thought it was a pretty good answer, and it just kind of reminded us of inherently the logic, or whatever, I guess the living out of logic that the Vision intent was intended to be. But yeah, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was good.
I already touched on my favorite part, which was the Vision on Vision, because of the dialogue that they had. Like, because fighting's cool and all, but when you give reason for a fight, that's where I'm like, okay, all right.
Because some people just need to be punched, son. What you mean?
I understand. Thanos needed to be jabbed, but
Yeah.
Oh, and then also the part that they did about the whole memory thing, like they were both kind of Vision in like a different way, and real Vision gave, the other Vision his memories, so that kind of fulfilled him into who he's supposed to be, which is why you guys had the critique earlier about like, okay, he just flew away. But I liked how they ended it, except for that absolute last part.
Yeah.
That we'll see.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. But I'm like, so all right, so I gotta start picking this thing apart, because I'm sorry.
Yes, please. Let's do it. Knife and fork it. Let's go.
Oh, hold on. Wait. I do got one more good thing to say. I told you they was gonna give my girl Darcy one more moment. I
was a fan. I was in there. I was like, yeah.
She ain't got no powers though.
Don't worry, they're gonna talk about it. She got powers. Trust me. Everybody got powers. Hayward gonna have powers. Everybody going to have powers. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Freaking Hayward.
That was your man, though. Yeah, shoot her. Shoot the kids. That was your man, though.
That's the thing. That's why I didn't like this episode that much, because they kind of just made him go full bad guy. Like, who mad dumps a bunch of children? Who does that? But he wasn't doing that before. He was not doing that. When he was about to missile strike Wanda, I could see that. It makes sense. Like, I could see the gray area. But when they just make him go full bad guy, I'm like, dude, it's clearly not working. You're obviously being the bad guy by still trying to pull the trigger on a gun that has no bullets in it. You freaking bag turd. I was so mad.
Yo.
Just made him full-on bad guy with no cause. I'm like, okay, so he's just a bad guy now.
He was a bad guy from the jump, yo.
Yeah, but we could at least sympathize with his position at first until he starts mag dumping children.
Yo, I was like, yo, really though? We shoot
right? I'm like, yo, we shooting kids now? Like this? Like very personally trying to mag dump a bunch of children? Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of the characters just got thrown out of the window, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, forget consistency.
We gotta speak our truth.
How true. You're true. What are we doing here? Yo, see, here's my thing, yo. So I love how they paid off Wu, because we're gonna talk about. I love Wu. You gotta give my man Wu some props. He came through. Darcy came through. Everybody came through except for, I would say, Monica Rambeau. I'm kind of disappointed what they did with her, and Wanda. I'm kind of disappointed what they did with her, because you had Monica had this one kid saving scene, but other than that, they just had her kind of just taking up screen time, and I felt like that was a pretty bad waste of her character in this episode. They could have given her something, or just, I don't know, just taking her out of this episode. But it felt like she was just filler for the most part. Like, it's cool that you can absorb bullets, but okay, I don't really care.
And you would think that, like, if you were shot at and consumed or absorbed bullets and they drop down, you think you'd have a bit of a reaction to that rather than just being like, hey, that's the thing I can do now. You think you'd have a bit of a, especially in a show like WandaVision where a lot of mental breaks are happening. You'd think you'd have a some sort of reaction to being shot at, but then not dying from being mag dumped. Just saying.
Right. Maybe she already knew about her powers. It was just. I mean, they were talking about scans and stuff from the early episodes, and she wasn't worried about the DNA. What the screens were saying about DNA. We always thought, because she saw her mother's readings. But what if some of those readings were her own as well?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give us that though.
It
was not established.
I know.
Like,
it's the same exact thing with Reiner for me, where his consciousness moves to his left toe. It's not established before, so don't just drop it on me and then expect me to just be like, oh, that's kind of sick. That's kind of cool.
But then see, here's the thing: when you got writers in TV, right? They always say you want to throw the audience off. And so if you establish it, like, oh, he's just going to move his consciousness to his right toe. Oh, she's just going to absorb the bullets of the kids. And so it's almost like you can't win, because if you write something with an establishment, well, I knew it was going to go there. You don't write something with an establishment, you're like, well, how'd that happen? When did that happen?
Here's the thing. This is why you develop your world better. When Tywin Lannister, or when the Lannisters and the Freys killed the House of Starks, it was a curveball, but it was a curveball that made sense because we knew what kind of ruthless savages the Lannisters and the Freys were. So it wasn't something that just came out of left field. It was left field, but in universe, it made sense. So all I'm saying is another example of a loop being thrown that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, because that's always my go-to loophole.
I mean, it was
Stark, Ned Stark being killed.
Why are we still on Game of Thrones, yo?
Because Game of Thrones is good. That's why.
I mean, it was.
So Ned Stark getting killed. Seeing that happen, we know what kind of psychopath Joffrey is. We know that he really doesn't give a freak about the advice that he gets, especially from his woman mother, who's a woman, ill. Like, why would I listen to her? So when Ned Stark,
wait, you gotta rewind because you're about to get canceled, sir.
No, that's the point. That's Joffrey. We know who Joffrey is. So when he cuts off Ned's head, it's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. But it was still a loophole. It was still a oh crap moment.
Was it well established that Joffrey was that much of a jerk when he cut his head off?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it was.
So was it really a loophole when he cut off Ned Stark's head?
No, it wasn't. So what are you saying, Jam?
Because they established it. When there's a way to do a gotcha moment, you got to establish the world enough. When Monica Rambeau gets shot and nothing happens, all the bullets just drop. There was no build up to that. Like when Darcy's truck hits Hayward's truck and you see it go into the wall, it makes sense because it was just changed illusion-wise, but it was still a military-grade truck. So that's why I was able to just this rinky-dink little rusty dirt ball truck was able to slam into this military-grade truck because at the end of the day, it was still a military-grade truck. That's why the Lannisters killing the Starks work, but Reiner.
We have to unpack this in another video. I think we have to unpack this in another video.
No,
we're going to be off
good.
topic on this for a while. Then.
No, it's
I
fine.
also
It's
wanna
fine.
add quickly that she was, seeing things, real things like electrical things of how the whole thing, the hex was pieced together with her new like blue eyes or X-ray eyes that glow yellow or whatever her deal is.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to, just add that really quickly. We were seeing that before the whole absorption of the bullets happened.
And she had enough sense to know, let me switch my vision so I can see if there's something on fake Pietro.
Yeah, Ralph Boner.
Just controlling them.
Yeah.
And so we kind of see that. So it leads me to think that this isn't necessarily new to her.
Mm-hmm. And then I think also, moreover, that she has this urge to just kind of throw herself in, as you were saying, this continuity of her being kind of, fly by with her own personal, like physical damage. What could happen when she's doing her work? She didn't care about the DNA change, and here she is being completely, mentally adjusted as this is happening and just wanting to help more and more. And then also I keep, pointing back that she didn't even want to be grounded. She wanted to be off, like running around with aliens and stuff. So, she's different, I feel like.
Yeah. I didn't have any problem with her absorbing the bullets. It was just her. I think what, like Jen was saying before, it was just her reaction. It was almost like, oh yeah, this is what's supposed to happen. Maybe she just grasped her powers that quickly, but it was kind of like,
I don't have an issue with her absorbing it. That's fine.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say that they're moving too fast for her.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot was moving fast in this episode. But we did finally get a payoff of
Yep, that one.
Whoopsie. Let me see. Is it back? Okay, yeah, it's back.
Yeah, back.
So we had a payoff for the boys' powers. We had a payoff of almost everybody. As far as Hayward's character, I think that was pretty lame. They just made him go full psycho at the end. Vision's character seemed to be paid off well. Darcy's character seemed to be paid off well. But again, so here's my thing. Monica's line to Wanda at the end, this is what broke it for me. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, let's back up. They'll never know what you sacrifice, and here's crazy. Like you'll never know what you sacrifice for them. Like, to me, that was such a backwards and twisted line, because it was like, now I can understand you sympathizing with somebody, but you got to be careful of sympathizing with psychos. Or I'm not saying we're psycho, but when people have
I will. She's like she's a little psycho, but it's okay for her to be a little psycho. She's been through a lot, so she can be a little mad.
Yeah, like they'll never know what you sacrifice for them. Like that's no. Like if anything, you should be sympathizing more with the villagers.
The people who I mean,
you don't have to condemn Wanda. You don't have to, say you're an evil, terrible person. But it's like these people were literally being kept in a mental prison where even the mailman said, I'm tired, Wanda. So he, even though his body was being made to do these actions, he still was tired, like mentally, whatever. He was still experiencing fatigue, which is terrifying, because I'm like, how long was she making him do stuff? Because one of the villagers ends up saying, hey, like, even when we sleep, we have your dreams, we have your nightmares or whatever. But obviously, all of them don't get the same sleeping rights. Maybe she forgets to put some people to sleep. Maybe she forgets to give some people enough sleep because she really didn't know what she was doing for the most part. But like when you hear them saying that type of stuff is going on, and then you go and say, well, it's okay, Wanda, they never know how much you sacrifice. Like, we set a really dangerous precedent for a hero, for somebody who's supposed to be a hero.
That's Disney for you.
You know I'm about to play Al Pacino, right? You already know I have my briefcase and my three-piece suit on. I'm about to play devil's advocate, bro. You don't remember seeing that movie? Oh, come on.
Only a little bit.
Come on, guys. Okay.
Wait, before you jump into that, I just want to say that I loved that scene. It broke my heart so much. I thought the script was so good.
Wait, what scene we talking about, Amber?
That very same scene where after she starts to open it up and like everybody starts, getting their memories, they snap out of it, and they're telling their manipulator and all of these things, like I was like, it was just so good. It was just such good drama, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Cody, please.
All right. So we know that to start off, this was never Wanda's intention for all of this stuff to happen. I mean, right or wrong, when it first started, she never went there and tried to create vision. She experienced that grief. She went to the house and then stuff started happening. Now, she may have kept it up too long, but it was never her intention. And she didn't know that people were suffering the way that they were. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct.
That's debatable.
It's debatable.
No, it's debatable. Okay. We'll do that eventually. But she didn't know that the people were suffering the way that they were. Wanda, when we sleep, we have your dreams. She didn't know that. She didn't know that they were experiencing the pain that they were experiencing. So with Monica Rambeau saying they never know what you sacrifice for them, again, what did she sacrifice? She killed Vision to try to stop the Thanos from getting the stones. Initially, she killed him. She sacrificed. Thanos brought him back and pulled his brain out of his skull. And then she disappeared. See, Wanda is still fresh. She was still fresh off of that experience. She was blinked. She was fresh off of that experience. And so now she's here and she's like, okay, well, this happened. I didn't do this, but here it is. I think I'm going to play in this for a while. You know what I mean? Because she was grieving. Then here come kids. Okay, I'm going to play in this for a while. You know what I mean? And so then when she finally decides, you know what, I'm going to tear down my fairyland. I'm going to tear down my quote unquote perfect world, if you will. And to see her kids crawling across, help, mommy, to see Vision help. It's like she sacrificed to save the world, but now she can't sacrifice to save, to her, her reality. You know what I mean? So that's how I looked at that. Now, maybe y'all looked at it different, but that's how I looked at it. So
if Monica was referencing Wanda's saving of the multiverse, sure. But if she was referencing her giving up the hex, no.
No, she's obviously talking about the sacrifice and the hex. Nobody's talking about the grander scheme of things. Because why the freak would they know about the greater scheme of things? Why would
because she's a sword agent. She's a sword agent. She knows about the greater scheme of things. What you mean?
Westview does not know the greater scheme of things. Westview don't give a freak. Westview don't give a freak. Westview does not give a single freak about any of that.
Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about Monica Rambeau. We're talking about Monica Rambeau.
I'm talking about
Monica Rambeau said they'll never know what you gave up. We ain't talking about Westview. Right. Freak Westview.
But she's referring to Westview. She's referring to Westview's population.
They'll never know. They'll never know. But Rambeau knows. So Rambeau's saying they'll never know what you gave up for them. But I know what you gave up.
Yeah.
So what you mean, son?
But what did you really give up?
Again, you did not hear that whole explanation.
Okay.
I heard you, but are you saying that it's because she sacrificed Vision, the real Vision, in the Mind Stone in order to try to stop Thanos? That was really what she had given up, you're saying, in order to save the universe?
No. But this all leads up to this that happened inside the Hex. So again, inside the Hex, this just happened. She didn't go and say, I'm going to create a Hex and I'm going to take a... She didn't start off like that. Now, whether she started to get comfortable in it, I think she did. And I think she held that up too long. And there are repercussions and all that for that. But to start it off, she didn't start off saying, hey, what's going on? I'm in this Hex. I got to stop it. That's almost like, look, the bank puts all this money in your account and you can't pay the bills for your kids, like your family's about to starve, and somebody starts to spend that money out of the account. And then it's like, well, no, I got to give this money back eventually. But you spent a lot of time spending the money. You're taking from other people because it's not the, let's say it's not the bank's money. They're pulling from other people's account and putting it in yours. And they're only going to be able to put back what they get out of your account. All right. We're just putting that out there. And so she stayed in her dream a little bit too long. And so that was her new reality. Again, she's fresh out of dealing with Thanos. She hasn't had years to get past this. She's fresh out of dealing with Thanos. So then when she's in this bubble, she's in a scenario. She's in a perfect scenario for her, in a sense. There were some things starting to happen with Agnes, of course. But she's in this quote-unquote perfect scenario. And so now to tear this down, because Wanda's already not all the way there. She has a marriage to an android. She's not all the way there, period, to begin with. But so she tears this down, seeing her perfect world family crawling in the street. I mean, it even touched you, Justin, the family crawling in the street. You know what I mean? But she gave that up to say, to release the people of Westview. But all her stuff in the past led up to her playing around in this Hex a little too long. That's just like the guy that had no money, can't feed his family. All of a sudden, all this money's in his account. He knows I didn't put it there, but heck, it's here. I'm going to spend it. And then he spends too much of it. And now it's time to give back to people because now you're taking from their livelihood. I'm going to give it back. So he's still, in a sense, going back. He's still sacrificing. Although some could say, well, it wasn't his to begin with. I get that. It wasn't his to begin with. But he started to play in it too long because he's been coming from a place of poverty this whole time. And now, okay, I can finally put food on my son's table. And he doesn't have to cry like, Daddy, where's food coming from? I'm hungry. 2-3 days without eating. That's the way I see it. So she, in a sense, I see the sacrifice that she made. And some people might say, well, it wasn't a sacrifice, this, that, or the other. I get that. But for her, I'm looking through the eyes of Wanda. For her, yeah, that was a sacrifice. Because she could have said, no, freak that. I'm going to keep my family, period. And they would have been able to do nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Sorry, Justin. I just want to say really quickly, like, I was thinking that, like, as I said, I really love the drama of it, and you can feel the sense of her, you know, like not only like taking from their lives, but like literally taking from their sleep, taking from their selves, taking from their dreams, from their peace, their hope. Not only, you know, their husbands and their wives and their children, as they gave us examples. That's why I loved it, because she really started to understand, you know, just how fragile this whole thing is, which is why I think she was able to survive the whole thing, and when everything fell apart, when she sacrificed it, that it didn't break her, but that she was able to continue on, and move into the next phase. But I still don't like, the moral relativism, that Justin brought up. But these are the kinds of superheroes and the backgrounds that they have and the choices that they make, which, as an example that that you gave, Cody, and how people are in real life with the things that they're given and that they're not given. I think that is a really good way of thinking about it, because we don't want people to be this way. We don't want these superheroes, if we don't like how they are, for them not to be the way that we don't want viewers to be the way that they are. But a lot of times people, when they're making these things, especially Hollywood and other, movie industries around the world, like, they're making things so that people can specifically identify with the way that these making choices so that things happen the way they do, and not only making choices, but expecting the world to be this way so that, you can make a choice like this. But, but we already knew that, when it was the whole chaos magic thing, like, you kind of choose what you want to watch and stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate your perspective on it. I think that's really, really, sympathetic.
And I see where you're coming from, but see, the thing is, it still really did tick me off. Monica knows, like, Monica's like, oh, they'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
I gotta tell them to stop screaming. Continue though.
Son, they have absolutely no idea. Or freaking Scarlet, what's her name? Wanda. Wanda doesn't know what they sacrificed for her. Mm-hmm. Literally, when this woman came out of this whole, when her mind got set free, the very first thing she asked for is to be able to hold her kid at night, because her kid's always stuck in the same room. Everyone else, they can't get any sleep. They can't feel anything. Every time they're allowed to sleep, they're in her nightmares. So who knows how much damage that's doing to 1-year-olds up to freaking 12-year-olds and further on. Because, you're a little bit older, you'll be able to handle a little bit better. But these little kids, because you saw little kids small enough that they needed to be like on the leash train. You have no idea what they're going on with. And not only kids are terrified of the dark, they're scared to be by themselves for long periods of time. So all this is now going to help. That's going to be a part of their growth now. So, and if Monica Rambeau was part of this world for a time, why couldn't she be like, that's all I would have liked. Just to say, they'll never know what they sacrificed for you or you sacrificed for them, and vice versa. Not just you girl, you're doing all this sacrificing for everybody. They're misrepresenting you. You're just so victimized. Like, that's literally all it is. Like, oh, poor freaking Wanda. What about everyone else in Westview? But hey, I guess Monica's just on the Wanda train so hard that didn't come to mind, even though she lived that world. That's ludicrous to me.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with that level of reasoning. And so she didn't realize what was happening even with the children until the lady told her. You know what I mean? And so had she continued to, I'm gonna put this back up, and like, come on, Wanda, like, but she didn't know until she was informed. And once she was informed, she made the right decision. You know what I mean? And she did sacrifice. Everybody else, they didn't really sacrifice. They suffered. They suffered because there was nothing they could do about it. So they weren't sacrificing in a sense. They were suffering because there was literally nothing they could do. But
there was no choice.
But I can see, because like and with Monica, she's thinking of losing a loved one and the pain of that, because she got snapped back. Like, where's my mom? She's fresh back into it too. Her mom's been dead for 3 years, but she's like waiting for. Last thing she remembers, she was at her mom's bedside, and so as she's talking about Wanda, like, look, if I had your power, I probably would have brought my mom back. And I mean, and we all can identify with losing in real life somebody we love that was close to us, that we, even if we didn't do it, we'd be tempted to keep them around another day. Just let me another day with them. You know what I mean? The first day I might not get rid of them, but give me another day with them. All right, just one more day. Okay, just one more day. And I can easily see how that can just snowball. I get it. I get the situation's messed up. And I think that's what makes good TV, because you can see it from every perspective. You can see it from that mom, like, yo, let me hold my kids. Like, what you doing? I want to hold my kids. Like, yeah, we're all suffering over here. And then you can see it from her perspective, like, okay, I didn't ask for it, but he's back. I want to get some more time. I don't know what's happening around me or what everybody else is going through. To an extent, she knows to an extent because they were under some type of control, but she didn't know the suffering they were going through. Maybe in her mind, man, they're just living these mind controlled lives and they're not hurting. I don't know how she would come to that conclusion, but nobody informed her. But I'm just saying that I can see how she's like, well, if I had your powers, I'd have brought my mom back. And so Wanda's like, Vision's here, and then another day. I can see that personally.
Now that's the thing, I was glad that I said, this is great, like they really have no way of forgiving her at this moment, or even like, who knows? And it's absurd to even, ask them to do that. But I was really glad that Wanda had somebody on her side, just the one person. It's not as if like she trusts her, because she doesn't, but to just be able to hear that, I said, okay, like at least she knows that somebody told her like, hey, I would have done the same thing. I don't think Wanda like particularly is interested in Rambo at this moment. Maybe they'll be friends later. She's like me right now, but I'm glad somebody told her that.
Yeah. No, I mean, y'all make a good point. I totally, I totally get it. Her having suffered so much and wanting to hold on to this thing. I would guess for me, what they do next is really going to kind of determine the real integrity that there is. Like, because I mean, all right, so Kevin Feige has done a good, I think a decent job so far, a pretty good job in some cases of just the continuity of, like between films, the story. Even when you saw like what happened in what was it? I forget which movie it was, but it was even a part of this series, like when Wanda accidentally, when she lifts the criminal up in the air and it blows up like a whole floor of a building and kills all these people. And then so that was in Civil War, right? That was like the beginning of Civil War, and that was kind of like one of the builds up to why they wanted to like to do the whole, what was it, Sokovia Accords or whatever, when they wanted to like make it the superhero law where you had to register to be a superhero and whatever, and make your identity public and all of that stuff. Okay, so maybe that doesn't count since those events happen in the same movie. But now that I'm thinking about it, but like, if after this we actually see some repercussions from what happened, and I thought that was what they were alluding to with Hayward, and it could possibly be that they say, hey guys, look at what happens when these super powered individuals get out of control, like something like a whole community of people were being mentally basically tortured and imprisoned, for at least like a week or days or whatever it was. And that has to have some real consequences. It has to have some real consequences for Wanda as a character, even if she can't come to grips with that right now, even if she really is just selfish, self-absorbed right now. That's fine, because you need characters like that. It's not bad for there to be a bad, self-centered, terrible character, just as long as it's consistent with the rest of the story. I have nothing against Monica and Wanda being woke. So what? I don't care. But if we see the real consequences of those belief systems and of their actions, then I think that'll be good, because there has to be some real repercussions after this. You can't take a whole town hostage and that have absolutely nothing to do with you as a character and with your relationships and with the story going forward. So I guess maybe that's why I'm fussing about it so hard, so because it's not wrong for these things to exist or to be there, but I just have to see, as like a writer myself, I'm like, okay, as long as this stuff consistently has some consequences and repercussions, then I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. So you're saying that you're hoping that Kevin Feige will be able to continue this capacity that the MCU has been able to do.
Yeah, because like if you have you know, if Wanda really, because for me, Wanda seems to be in a place mentally and emotionally where she probably cares, but she doesn't care enough about the damage she's inflicted upon others. You know, not to the point where she's willing to really like openly admit it or make some sort of drastic self-improvement about it. Like, she doesn't really care right now. For me, I think she's just kind of wrapped up in the whole, let me get control of these powers, let me see what I'm capable of. And that's fine as long as we continue to build that consistently. You can't have it turn around and Wanda some saint epic, super civil and super humble character all of a sudden, because that's not what we showed her to be all this time. Like, if you have some drastic shift in her, you have to show, okay, how did she actually come to grips with what she did in Westview? How does she actually come to grips with these people? Did she make reparations? Did she do something to actually make amends to these people? If we just see in the next movie she's a completely different character all of a sudden, that to me, that would just be stupid. And I think it kind of destroys a lot of what we saw happen in this series. Like, these was really serious events that happened. So for me, it's just that, okay, we have to build consistently from here. It can't just be these things happen, but it doesn't matter because Wanda's an Avenger and she gets a pass. You know,
are you saying that next time we see Wanda, you want to see her in the place where the repercussions are being felt? I mean, because she can't go to jail. Like, she's not going to jail. Like, what? You know what I mean? She's not going to jail. The best they could do is maybe, if Tony Stark was still alive, have some type of facility to encase her in, like they did the Hulk on the ship that time. But other than, like, she can't go to jail, like, because the jail wouldn't be able to hold her. You know, and so what type of what are you thinking? Like, if you, what would be satisfactory for you to see as far as repercussions for Wanda in this situation? She's probably already going to be ousted as the woman who kept the city hostage. Even if she still works with the Avengers, she'll probably be like that one. You know what I mean? Because, like, do we see, like with Hulk, do we see a lot of repercussions with him? Like, when he goes on a rampage and tears stuff up, like, are we seeing those repercussions, or are they just getting swept under the rug as well?
Yeah.
Because Hulk, when he rampages, he kills people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of just seeing all of this, and that's what I think they may be building up to, where you know, especially with the introduction to the X-Men, you're going to kind of see this whole tension between superpowered and non-superpowered individuals, you know, between the humans and the abnormals, basically. So maybe we'll see that, like, hey, something has to be done. Too much is being, you know, these people are basically going unchecked. So, but yeah, because it just feels like this stuff is cheap at the end of the day.
So enter the Sentinels. It'll be a perfect time to get Sentinels out and about, huh?
Right. Yeah. You know, something like that. But yeah, so all right, just let me see, moving on. I was going to say we could go talk into character arcs, but we kind of talked a lot about Wanda's character arc. Agatha Harkness. What do we think about the character of Agatha Harkness in this series as a whole and going forward? Do you see, like, her playing a bigger part maybe in the future? And do you think she was a satisfactory character in this series?
I think she played a purpose. I mean, I don't think every character has to be three-dimensional. I think Agatha is just one-dimensional character. Wants power for the sake of power. We could do anything to get it. I think it's simple as that. I don't think she needs to stick around. Like, she's cool and all, but I don't think she needs to stick around. She's a fun little one-dimensional character that I think will probably pop up every once in a while when Wanda needs her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I see somewhere in the future we'll have a cameo of Agnes, or they may go back to get her to help with some magical something that's happening. I see her going back to Westview to grab Agnes because she said, "You're going to stay here. You're going to live here." She's like, "Okie dokie, neighbor." But I see her going back to get Agnes to help her with something that's beyond her level of understanding. Being that Agatha's an old witch, so and is more used to the magical interaction. So I don't think we've seen the last of Agnes. I liked Agnes. I thought she was fun. She was fun, So I liked her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought I'm looking forward to seeing Agnes again. I like that in a submissive, like she's been like a bit subject to in comparison to directly to Wanda's powers. And I think it would be cool if a sort of, loyal relationship were to come around from that, and she were to develop some respect, and maybe she would become a little less, I don't know, greedy or something. But yeah, I thought she was hilarious. I thought she played the neighbor part so perfectly, and I actually wanted to ask you guys about like where is she gonna go now that the hex came down and she kind of infiltrated it from the outside? Like, was she ever a member of Westview? Like, where is she now? And I was concerned about that when everything went down. What do you guys think?
Yeah. No, that's a good question because she didn't have her own home. She was using Ralph's home. So that's a really good question. If you have her brainwashed thinking she's a neighbor. Yeah.
But we never saw Ralph, so maybe Ralph was just something she was making up. We saw Ralph?
Ralph was a Quicksilver guy.
Yeah, we saw him. Oh, wait, not after. Sorry.
Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he happened to be some neighbor who was living in the house where she had her like lab in the basement. Well, not lab, but her witches stuff. So that was well boner. So they totally trolled us on that whole Quicksilver cameo.
I was hurt. By the way.
I know.
I was hurt.
Like, y'all dumb. But yeah.
It was sort of like, oh man, I've been foiled. Wow, I thought we were all clever. Me, like me and the writers, I thought we were all in cahoots. No. But we'll see what they do.
Right. It was still weird though that he had that level of speed and power though as somebody under Agatha's control. It was just really weird. But there are ways to find.
Yeah, witch magic.
I guess, but it's still kind of weird. But all right, so at the second post-credit scene, we get this shot of Wanda, basically doing her little Doctor Strange meditation, projecting, blah, 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 while she's learning and all of this stuff. So, and then she hears her children say, "Mom, help." Okay, so what are y'all thoughts on that? Because for me, I'm like, okay, so are they like trapped in an alternate dimension now? Or I don't know. I just wanted y'all to throw out y'all theories on that because it was really interesting.
I have a theory, but I want to hear somebody else's first. I've been talking a lot already. Somebody.
All right, I'll start. So I just went like straight headcanon already immediately. I was like, let's have fun with this. Let's say that's the whole Mephisto thing. Fine, because it would be nice, as we were just talking about, continuity, about them dropping something here and giving us a little taste to kind of a brain teaser. And then this could be like another brain teaser. It would be nice if whoever is holding the kids is somebody who we were already thinking about and inferring on. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You going for Mephisto like Justin was going for Magneto?
I feel like I even know what I'm talking about. Like, I didn't read the comics, so
yeah. One thing. Let me throw my theory out there. So I was actually thinking maybe her kids aren't being held captive necessarily by like a person, but perhaps because we're going into this whole multiverse of madness, like any possible reality that could exist does exist in the infinite multiverse. That's kind of like with string theory, whatever. Like any possibility that can exist basically does exist in one of the infinite number of alternate universes. So perhaps her children actually do exist, just in some alternate dimension or alternate universe or alternate reality, and they can't get into her reality. So that's what I thought. And perhaps her trying to get them out of this reality is what's going to create like this whole multiverse of madness. So going to kind of jank things up further.
Okay.
That was my whole theory.
That makes sense. Well, when I was watching it, my first thought is when she's like looking over this book, and this book has been under Agatha's control and the witch coven this whole time, I'm thinking that their prophecy was going to come to fruition, and there's something that, you know, because somebody had to write this book, and I don't imagine it was the witch's coven who did it.
Right.
I think it was somebody who's bigger and badder who had left that book there for a reason, so that Scarlet Witch could pick it up and start reading through it and learning more. I think that helped me was in her mind. That's where she's trying to get. That's like a manipulation that's happening to her even still now, where that's where she's at. You know, she's carrying up. She wants to get her kids back no matter what, and that's what's on her mind. And she'll do anything to get them back. And I think her intentions start out as good, but then she'll slowly become that Scarlet Witch that destroys the world. I think she's going to slowly become the bad lady, the bad guy.
You think she's actually going to destroy the world, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
At least this one.
Yeah.
I think it's because they were created by the Mind Stone. I think that they're alive in the Mind Stones. Like the Mind Stone is infinite. So it's like if the Mind Stone creates it, like it really doesn't get destroyed. It's there somewhere. You know what I mean? I just think it's something with the Mind Stone that those kids are alive, but maybe that they're just now back somewhere in a reality that the stone created. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a good theory. I didn't even think about that. That would be a really that would be a really simple theory. You know what? I just got another theory, because in the comics, at least from what I've read so far, at least what I've read up, is that
I don't know. Somebody eating chips?
I don't know. Is that your?
I think it's Amber.
Amber.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, snap, Amber. What you do, Amber?
Things are frozen. Actually, yeah, my whole thing froze. Wow, that's weird. My connection is buggy for some reason, even though it's super fast. But anyway, you know, another theory that, because in the comics, the Dark Code was written by Shaitan, and you know, was basically used as a way of him bringing him back into the material world. So perhaps it wasn't even really her children's voices, but it was him imitating, you know, some evil figure who wants to come into the real world, imitating, you know, her children's voices in order to get her to free them. You know, so that's a that's a thing.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know. All right, so I guess just for our last talking point, do you think that this series properly set up what's coming forward in the MCU? I mean, I know that's still hard to tell, but just if you had to make some, just from what we got, do you think that it's a good setup into the next phase of the MCU? And what do you think that might look like?
Well, is this the
foundation?
I mean,
okay.
I personally don't know if it's a good enough foundation, because I don't really know exactly how they're going to do what comes next. Because right after this, they drop Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I don't think the two are really going to have that much of a correlation. They could. I hope they do. You know what I mean? Maybe it creates more distrust for the Avengers because Wanda was an Avenger, and that puts more pressure on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Maybe. And I know eventually the MCU is going into a darker area with Moon Knight and Blade and stuff like that. And so it's possible. I hope so. I mean, they've done a pretty good job prior to this, so I don't see why it wouldn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think too I think they might be doing a couple of different, they might be setting up a couple different stories. With Wanda, you got the Multiverse of Madness, but maybe with Winter Soldier, we get more of the Skrull v. Kree thing. Because we saw the Skrulls at the end of WandaVision. So maybe we're getting a little bit more of the Skrull, and hopefully they get retcon to actually be the bad guys like they're supposed to be, unlike Marvel, or Captain Marvel, who said that they were actually the peace-faring race and ruining my Skrull fantasy. So that's cool. Hopefully they get...
You got a Skrull fantasy, son?
Yeah, I want to have the Skrulls be the bad guys they're supposed to be. But no, they can't be because they're the good guys apparently, and the Kree were bad. So maybe they'll set up the real Skrulls with Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
I guess in a war type situation, who's the bad guy is a matter of perspective.
Right.
Yeah, did you see Captain America or Captain Marvel?
That just blanked through my mind, son. You know how that goes for me.
Yeah, in Captain Marvel, they were like super peaceful. Just they were the good guys. Like they wrote it so that they were absolutely the good ones, and the Kree were absolutely the bad ones.
Because like when we look at even the Avengers game that's not even related, but the Kree are bad in the Avengers game. And so again, we're talking about different multiverses and stuff. So maybe in this universe, the Kree are actually the Skrull are actually good. In this universe, because in the universe normally Wanda's not going to the bad side. She's not a bad guy, but it looks like she's going to the bad side. You know,
yeah,
so
and in normal universe, she is a mutant, and I don't think they're going to do the whole mutant thing.
Oh, they got you, yo.
They already did it though with Monica.
Yeah, I'm just saying for Wanda because they didn't have the rights to that right now, or when they wrote her in at first, they didn't have that in mind.
Oh, they can retcon it. They didn't give it that much.
Retcon it because they said she was born with these, well, according to Agatha, witch powers. But
that's why she was calling her a witch, because she don't know what a mutant is. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. And so even back when in her 500, 600 years ago, this witch is going to come, they didn't have the terminology for this mutant, this person born with these powers, because she was asking her, like, how come the bomb didn't blow up right there in front of you? What did you do? And she's like, I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not like she was practicing a type of magic, although it would very well appear like magic to anybody who practiced magic. Look, I do what you do. What you mean? But I studied and you were born with it. So there's a difference. So hopefully, I'm hoping, son. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Does Scarlet Witch in the comics have the Mind Stone powers too?
I don't think so.
No, not in the comics.
I don't think it's going to be a mutant. I hope it's not a mutant. That's right. I said it. Hope she's not a mutant. Yeah.
Yo, I think she is though.
I mean, but it makes sense. They're trying to make it seem like a mild retcon, right? Because they're trying to make it seem like she had powers even before the Mind Stone. That's what they tried to make it seem like. And so the Mind Stone would only enhance what she already had. So maybe she was a level 1 mutant, but then when she got the Mind Stone, she's an Omega level mutant or whatever. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. But I'm honestly, bro, I don't know how I'm feeling about this Captain and the Winter Soldier, Cody. I'm gonna just be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it, but if you tell me that is good, if you tell me that is worth watching, then I'll probably watch it. But I don't know how much I want to keep covering Marvel stuff. That might just be you and Jam and Amber because
why you like that?
Y'all Marvel fans hard to please. I'm gonna just.
Whose man is this, yo?
I would just be honest. Y'all know y'all ain't right. Yo, let me stop venting. Let me stop soft venting on this recording right here. No, but Yeah, so overall, I think WandaVision did an okay job. I think it did a cool job for what it was. I think it was a lot. I think at least episodes 1 through 5 with all the pop culture references is gonna go down in history as just like one of the best ways of some of the best tropes and some of the best parodies of like pop culture. If nothing else, WandaVision definitely pulled that off well. And like I said before, I would still, to an extent, I would still like to see a spin-off show with like any of these characters, man. Give them their own spin-off show. Give my boy Woo and my girl Darcy a spin-off show. Like have some type of sword spin-off or something. Yo, come on, stop hating. So like spin-off show.
Here we go.
Or at least
you said you wanted to leave Marvel. Now you want Marvel to give them a show. Make your mind up, bro. Make your mind up, Justin.
See, here's the thing. Me wanting to watch something and wanting to cover something are two different things. I feel like that. I watch it on my own time, but covering it is debatable. But anyway, with that being said, y'all got any closing thoughts before we wrap this joint up and play the outro video?
I'm excited to see what that is. For my last thought,
just the
I'm
logo.
going to say that, I just didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. I thought it was going to be really, really dumb. Not just on its own right, but just because, on my own personal principle as a person who's not like really serious about comics of various, genres and stuff, versus like Walking Dead versus MCU, very different. They have original material. I think it was really good, especially like you were saying, Justin, about like those first 5 episodes with just all of the pop cultural content. I just thought they executed that really well, and they were very clever. And it brought me, as a person who's more of a casual viewer of the MCU, deeper into the how and why they're gonna do all of their stuff. So I think it was a good couple of weeks of spending some time on this. I enjoyed it.
All right.
Yeah, I think only closing thought I have is I think how they're we don't know what they're doing with Vision now that he flew away and had no contact with Wanda. But I think that when the Skrull showed up, I think they were talking about Samuel L. Jackson. Nick Fury wants to talk to Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
And so we either going to see her in an upcoming movie. They'll probably put her in a movie before she gets her own series or anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we'll probably see her in a movie, maybe the next Captain Marvel or something like that.
Yeah, but likely, which I'm afraid of. Just have Monica take Brie Larson's powers. I'll be so happy.
Get Brie Larson killed, and then have Monica Rambeau be like, "Hey, I'm Captain
just
Marvel
have a sucker powers. You didn't have to kill her. You super tragic.
Nah, you can just go ahead and get Plank out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Not Brie Larson. You mean Carol Danvers? Carol
Danvers. Yeah, that's what we.
You just killed the actor, son.
Yeah, Plank.
Actress.
No, not the actress. Why the heck would I do that?
You just said Brie Larson.
No, I'm
bro.
talking about Carol.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's because that's my bad. I meant Carol Danvers.
Yeah, the wooden plank, also known as Brie Larson.
Carol Danvers.
Stop.
Yeah.
Forgive us.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Ever go cut it? She looking kind of bad.
No, like I'm wondering, if this is more of like a fandom kind of thing, like.
I mean, she did just straight up tell us that the movie wasn't meant for us, so that's kind of cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I have my own opinions about the people who make these things, and they're not very good. So, I'm just gonna be silent on my end.
She's zipping it through the key like, nope.
Yeah, you can kill Carol Danvers and just not let Brie Larson star in any Marvel content anymore. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, it's just I don't think this role was for her. It's not working.
Nah, she needs to be like a Judge Dredd type character.
Oh snap!
She played that pretty well.
I can see it though.
Yeah. Like she
You
would
guys
go
don't
well
get
as
to
Judge Dredd role.
like we're talking about like in the next 3 years, you know.
what? What you mean?
Getting a Rambo thing, getting a Rambo cameo in a new Marvel Captain Marvel thing, and then Rambo getting her own thing. Like that's a while, you know. And I'm not saying that I don't want to wait. I'm saying that I don't really care to wait. I don't know if that's you know unfair.
You saying you don't care about the character, or you want more Rambo now?
Like none of it, you know. I just take it, you know, like one project at a time. And if I don't like it, I'm like, all right, I'll see MCU, I'll see you in a couple of more months or a year or whatever. You know? Like I didn't like Ultron, you know, but I loved Civil War. I was back in for that. I was like, let's do it.
Oh, snap.
Like, are you sure, Amber? You didn't see the last one. I was like, I don't care. This looks good.
Oh, snap.
I didn't even finish Age of Ultron. I was like halfway through it, and I just cut it off. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I was tired of it.
It wasn't terrible.
I mean, son, that was like what?
Fun.
That was years ago. Like your mind's changed since then. You know? Go back and watch it again.
Nah. Age of Ultron is dead.
Yeah. But yeah, so yep, going forward, I guess we're gonna see what's next for the MCU, or if they turned into the MCU or whatever.
Oh snap!
We're gonna see. But anyway,
we got all those heroes walking around.
And whamming, you better respect.
No, they had some heroes. I mean, we can let the heroines get some time to shine. It's just do it right.
Definitely.
Just do it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all. Just do it right. Let's do it right.
Yeah.
It's just new Marvel's getting a little spooky.
Yeah.
Everything's getting a little spooky, son.
Yeah, that's true. Everything is getting spooky. You got. Well, I was just watching the what was it? The Powerpuff Girls announcement, and boy, I got a little backlash. I made this comment saying, so apparently they're making a Powerpuff Girls live action movie.
Yeah, on CW.
No.
Yeah, and I was saying, well, I hope that Professor Utonium doesn't accidentally add chemical woke to his girl's perfect, you know, formula.
Oh, he totally will.
It got a lot of laughs, but then this one person wasn't so happy. They were, you know, I guess they on the woke mob. It was like, look at all of you complaining about a children's show.
Children's shows can be good. If anything that needs to be good, it's children's shows because it's influential.
Right. I don't care about it for me. I care about it for the children's going to impact. I don't want you cramming your agenda down my children's throats or down my niece and nephew's throats. Like, get out of here, man. But I didn't argue with. I was just like, look, guys, message me if you want to talk because we're not going there.
And this is where you insert. This is where you insert. It was for the kids, Mr. Glass.
Because of the kids.
Like, what do you think about this spookiness that you guys were just talking about? Like, especially the scene with the coven and and then they were like corpse witches walking around.
That was actually my favorite scene. I'm sorry, Amber, but I was excited because I thought that I was like, Wanda about to pull out some Walking Dead on this witch. Like, she about to go. I was like,
I honestly thought they were about to chew her to bits. I thought they were about to chew her up.
That would have been so hard, I ain't gonna lie. I know you see it from a different perspective, but I was like, that's so hard. We about to have.
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. And then I thought they were going to pull the switcheroo, and then Wanda was going to get chewed up by zombies. So I'm like, wow, the Marvel cast really enjoyed seeing the new X-Men movies because the second I saw it, all I could think of was, we're going to need a bigger house.
They're going to need a bigger house. No, but we were talking about with the spookiness, Amber. We were talking more about like the types of agendas and stuff that they were putting in, not necessarily like the witches and ghosts and none of that. We were talking about as far as the agendas and the wokeness and the way the people write some of these characters and how they're changing them up to kind of be, I guess, more culturally relevant, but it takes away from the characters that they were. So that's the type of spooky we're talking about. We're not talking about as far as like the covens and the witches and all that other stuff.
Spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not spooky for me.
Hold on. Let's continue this discussion. Let me just end this video real quick and play the outro video, and then we can keep talking. Yo,
Okay.
everybody. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts on WandaVision in the comments, and we will see y'all next time. Until then, keep being furiously amazing.